Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Man Behind Ministry podcast. As always, I'm your host, Minister Ryan Smith of the Virgin Street Church of Christ right here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. This episode is real special. I wouldn't be who I am without the guests that we have on today. We can't move any further in this spinoff without sitting down talking to the OG, the music minister to the congregation to Virgin Street. Wouldn't be able to do this without him. I wouldn't have the musical experience. This is my foundation right here. This is my dad. And so, how you doing, Pops? You doing all right?
Oh, yeah, I'm doing good.
Good. I know we've had a number of guests on, but I didn't want to go any further without having you on.
Oh, yeah, that's okay. I'm just working in the wings. Whenever you need me, I'm there.
Good stuff. When you look at musicians, even in like the R&B field, the Jacksons had the Jackson 5.
Oh, yeah.
But obviously the Smiths, you had the Smith 5. If you're able to come to the house, there's a picture of my late grandfather with his 5 boys, and not just his boys. Really, the whole family can sing. And so if you are fluent in Tulsa in this area, the Smiths can sing. And so Dad, tell us about how it was just growing up with the family of singers, because that's not a gift that everyone has.
Actually, it was very enriching.
Mm-hmm.
Even I remember probably about 4 or 5 years old, my mom, either my mom or dad, they would just start off singing.
Yeah.
And if my mom started, then my dad would start coming in, and then my sisters, and pretty soon all of us is just around in the living room. We're sitting down, and I remember as a kid, and I used to watch. I was so intrigued with my mom.
Yeah.
She was a small woman, but she had a very big voice. Her mouth, just small. I used to look at her mouth, but her voice, and I couldn't see how all of this sound was coming out of her little mouth. Mm-hmm. And that just amazed me. And that's what I remember most about our family. Like I said, when one started singing, we would just all come in, we would sit down and just start singing. And it was good. I'll never forget. And I really appreciate my mom and dad for allowing us and helping us to be a part of that singing.
Yeah. No, that's good. I know I can relate to that. You talk about, grandma, and people always say that with me when we would travel with the group. They'd be like, who's the bass? And they would pick the biggest person in the group. We travel with Virgin Street, and we go sing different churches, and they always be like, who's the bass? And they pick Chris, or they pick somebody else, and they be like, no, the bass is right here. They're like, him, this little old thing? So I could definitely relate to just that. And so, for us, coming from a family of singers, and it's not just, the Smiths, it's not just Fred and Rose, but I mean, you go into Aunt Rose, the Jacksons. I mean, I don't really know too many people in our family who can't at least hold a tune.
Right. I agree with you. And they really like to sing. They'll bust out a note at any time. Mm-hmm. They don't need any prompt. Just do it. They like Nike, just do it.
Right. Yeah, that's good. So obviously you got that background. Obviously you're here at Virgin Street now, but obviously you talk about the Smiths. You guys migrated. I think you all started in the Baptist church, correct? And then how old were you when you all left the Baptist church and migrated over to Peoria and Young, which is now North Peoria?
I believe I was 5 at the particular time.
Okay.
I was the youngest, I believe, at the time that we moved to Peoria and Young, because we were at Friendship Baptist Church, and that was my indoctrination of music then. I used to listen to my dad. He was not only a cappella, but he had a musical group that they played and sung and performed on the weekend here in Tulsa.
Okay.
I don't know exactly when, because I was too young to remember that, but I do remember, and I see the pictures of my dad, and I don't know if it was the nightclub scene, but I do remember seeing the group on stage.
Nice.
And I think my dad was one of the lead singers.
Okay. Good stuff. I remember, shout out to Friendship Baptist Church. I remember they had a program a couple years ago, and they were talking about some of the founding members of Friendship, and I believe our ancestors were some of those founding members. So that's pretty cool. So you migrated from Friendship over to the Peoria Young, which is now the North Peoria congregation there. And I remember you telling me, you were there, active, but not as active as you are here at Virgin Street. And so kind of tell the people, about that migration. Because most people who, if they don't know you, they just kind of see you here at Virgin Street, but they don't kind of know what brought you over here to Virgin Street, and just how, I know you always told me about how Granddaddy, Brother I.S. Benson, as soon as you came over, he put you to work. Kind of talk to us about that migration. What was that like?
When I first started at North Peoria, I was with the youth, very active. Because I remember one of the best experiences as a young boy, being before I was a Christian. Yeah. But they had the activities for us, and we just grew up. Me, my brothers and sisters, in my little 3 group. We were in group of 3, so we were all close together. And just being with North Peoria, we had youth rallies almost at least once a month. Okay. And it was a lot of activities for us. So we had plenty of opportunities to, be young and be able to join other Christians from other walks of life. And that was my first experience being with the youth. But singing, we were part of the youth group. And we had I think we had one of the best youth groups in the regional area. And we were very active. We would go singing almost every other Saturday. We were either Saturday we were singing, and we had our own youth group. Our director was one of my cousins. Sister Booker then. Okay. Elois. And it was just such good memories of always being at the church, always singing, being active. And that's what I enjoy most. And as we got older, it seems to be that I kind of migrated, I was always close to the front, but then as I got a little older and older, I was migrating. I found myself more to the back, not participating as much. And that's when, Virgin Street and North Peoria used to, we used to like to congregate. So all the guys, we used to like going over over to Virgin Street. And so we didn't mind going. So we would go over there, and then that's when we met a lot of the Vincents, and eventually that's where I met my wife. Well, actually, we grew up together, but we finally got together coming over here to Virgin Street. And like I said, I was part of the youth group, and I was part of the adult group singing also. And then with me and Vicky Smith, my late wife, that's when we got together, and I started visiting over here. So Brother Vincent saw me, and he said, from the first day, he didn't waste any time. He didn't waste any time putting me up front and doing, the Lord's work. And I really appreciate him. I was kind of scared at the time because I wasn't out front that much other than singing. Right. So I really appreciate Brother I.S. Benson. He pushed me as much as his granddaughter, Sister Vicky Smith. She pushed me also. So I really thank both of them for doing that. And now you see how I got here. So you've got, 2 just faithful members of the body, just active, have a rich history in the church, and just coming together. And then not just myself, but obviously you've got our sister Shantae, my brother
Ronald Smith II. And so, yeah, it's just a blessing to just to be your offspring. Yeah, I mean, just to come from that rich heritage. I remember being a teenager and even in college. I come up from Southwestern, and you know, I go running around in the neighborhood, and people would just stop their car and be like, "You Ronnie's boy?" So I'd be like, "Yes, I'm Ronnie's boy." You know, they'd be like, "I'm your cousin," and so. You know, so I learned at a young age, man, I gotta walk the straight and narrow because you never know who your family is and all that. So yeah,
we had a bunch of us running around, so you never know.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Now being obviously you talked about your migration to Virgin Street and just being very active here. You've been a member of the finance committee for many years, been faithful in that regard. The chorus director, building and grounds. I mean, pretty much youth director. You know, with Mom, so many things that you were active in, and so. You know, back in the heyday before pre-COVID, when people actually had choruses, because now nobody really has a chorus anymore for the most part. It's just the people who sing in the worship team and whatnot now. But, you know, back in the day, Virgin Street had a really solid group. And so a lot of that was a testament to you and the people always say, man, you know, Ronnie's tough on us, man, but, you know, we sound good. And so just talk to us about that experience and just leading Virgin Street in the chorus.
Just like I said, when Brother Vincent brought me over, when I came over and Brother Vincent put me up to work, and probably this was back in 1984 when I first started with Virgin Street.
Yeah.
And I got with, you know, my wife, and we were married in 85. That next year, that following year, they asked me to take over the chorus there. So it's just been... I was delved in right from the beginning. You know, it's like I came over and hit the ground running.
Yeah.
You know, and I was kind of afraid at first, you know, but with the confidence that my wife had in me, and she always wanted me
it's okay.
to be the best that I could be, the best Christian that I could be.
Yeah.
And she pushed me, and she wanted me to be out front. She always wanted me to be out front, to be a leader. And I thank her for pushing me, for doing the things that she did, helping me study. She was more, I can really say she was more diligent in the word, and that's why she helped me so much to be a better and stronger Christian.
Yeah.
That's where a lot of my strength came from, how she pushed me to be the best that I could be. And that's what I try to do with you and, you know, Shantae and Tu. It's just a blessing to have a woman in your life like that.
Yeah.
And she pushed me to be there, and from being the director back in 85, man, it's just been a long journey.
Yeah.
Like I said, we had a chorus.
Yes.
They knew who it was East Virgin Street.
Right. Yeah.
East Virgin Street, Church of Christ. Everybody knew when we came to the regional singing, they was gonna hear some good singing.
Yeah.
And we had some talented people, you know, not people who grew up in, you know, taking classes like they do in college, and, you know, but they just wanted to sing.
Yeah, a lot of raw talent.
Yeah, just raw talent. And I myself, just being the leader, you know, I didn't take any what they call it,
formal education.
Education in music. Just I had in high school at McClain, but other than that, it was the music that I was taught through my family and, you know, my brothers and sisters, and just from being with other people here in the Church of Christ.
Yeah.
So I just saw and I heard different things, and when I heard different things, I tried to put things together that was different. So I would sometimes change up songs or add this and take away that. So that was my blessing, I guess, to be the leader of the East Virgin Street Chorus.
Yeah. And it was yeah, like you said, it was a chorus. I don't know, people, of course, coming from the Smith family, then, you know, having the Jones side, Vincent side, they were singers too.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so
Oh, yeah.
it was almost like a crime if we didn't know how to sing.
That's true.
It's like, you got to get ready to sing something. So people would ask, you know, man, you know, Ryan, when you get in the chorus, you know, when you gonna join the group, you know, and I was like, you know, my daddy's over, my mom's in it, you know, I kind of want to do my own thing. But I think it was my senior year in high school at Booker T when I finally decided to join. I was like, you know what? I actually was mad that I didn't join sooner, because we had a lot of fun, you know, going on those trips and stuff. We had a lot of fun. You know, you get to know the group better. So it was a lot of fun just traveling, you know, just that fellowship, you know, those things you really just never forget. So let's step outside of obviously just church and whatnot, but you know, before marriage, a lot of people don't, well, people in this area know, but you were a primetime athlete. So when you look at the Smiths, I mean, I tell people all the time, you know, mom was a cheerleader. Yes. But and she had the same loud boy alto she had in church. She had that on the field.
Yes, she did.
But I always say, you know, my athletic side, you know, really came from the Smiths. So there's not really a sport that we didn't play, whether it's, you know, organized or even just recreational. You know, all the holidays we had when we were playing either throw 'em up, jack 'em up, or we were playing croquet and badminton. Some sports people don't even know, like what's croquet or what's badminton, you know. But you know, it's one of those, if you know, you know. But we had some fun in the backyard. But before former McClain Scott, Josh Jacobs, you held a lot of those running back records at McClain, and so they called you Scooter.
Well, Scooter was my college name.
Okay.
At McClain, they called me Little Joe.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Little Joe Washington, who played at OU.
Okay. Yeah. So talk to us about just that time at McClain and just being that star running back.
That was one of the most enriching as an athlete, was at my high school. Well, even before that, because one, I was probably the smallest running back in the state of Oklahoma, and at most of that year, my senior year back in 1976, I led the state in touchdowns and yardage. And like I said, I had some records over at McClain as far as yardage and return yardage. You know, when they started actually keeping all of the records. Yes, before Josh, I didn't get as much as Josh now, because you know, those guys had some size on them.
Yeah.
But I was like 5'3", 135 pounds. That was my actual height and weight in high school.
Wow.
And I was the starting running back for the McClain Scotts back then. And I was proud. That is one of my proudest moments, because then it's where I got my determination, actually around middle school, because my drive was so much. Could nobody tell me that I couldn't do anything. And when they did, that was a challenge to me. So they told me I couldn't play. You too small. I've heard that all my life. And I had to prove them wrong.
Yeah.
Not just for them, but for myself.
Right.
I knew what I could do. And I set out and I did it.
Yeah.
So they couldn't tell me that I couldn't be no running back, or I was too small, I was going to get hurt. My mom, even when I went to college and playing football, it was hard for her to watch, because she thought I was going to get hurt.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed it. That's where I got my determination. You tell me something that I can't do, and I'm going to prove you wrong.
Yeah. No, that's good. And that's good in the faith too, you know. Yes. And you kind of see that determination is important even in the faith as well, in the church, because there are we got naysayers, things like that, you know, people, especially when you turn your life over, when you try to be more active in the church, and people will say this and that and the other, but you know, it's good to have that determination, because it definitely pays off dividends. And especially being at Virgin Street, which historically, you know, it's always been a smaller congregation, but we have been able to do great things here, and a part of it is because of, you know, that determination. So kudos to you.
Thank you.
Mom and other members, some that are still here, some that have gone on into eternity. But we're able to. I say all the time in sermons and just teaching and lessons, man. We're able to be who we are and do what we do because of the individuals that came before us, and so I'm definitely appreciative. And also, even just on the sports side, like I said, that was a time, and you told me a number of times where smaller athletes didn't get a lot of play like Josh is now, or other athletes are now. You look at, I think Darren Sproles, who went to K-State. It was small guys, but now as time has progressed, I think on the Cowboys now. Shout out to the Cowboys. You see the deal up here.
Oh yeah, how about them boys?
How about them Cowboys?
Pittsburgh, talking to you.
Yeah. Are you still the fans and all that other stuff? Yeah, don't even worry about it.
Yeah,
don't even worry about it.
We got you.
Yeah. But individual athletes like you who were smaller, but you guys really paved the way so that athletes today who are small really kind of get that shine now.
Yeah, it when I started out as a running back, graduated from college, that was the beginning of my search to be in the National Football League.
Mm-hmm.
And I probably grew a couple of more inches. I think I was 5'5", and I think my true weight then when I graduated, and it was like 165. I think that's the most that I've weighed then during after my college days. And I went on a few years of trying to find my place in the NFL. I had tryouts with about 3 or 4 different NFL teams, one mainly being the Cowboys, which is I really wanted to play, and that was my determination to play, and I came so close. You know. And I tell all my students this story of how I came to play, and it was like almost 1,000 guys, trying out. It was a big at the Dallas Stadium then, and I know at that particular time I had the fastest time. I ran a 4.29 or something like that.
Yeah.
And I had the fastest time, and I told them all I wanted to do, if you don't get me to do for anything else, I'll be your kickoff returner and I'll be your punt returner.
Yeah.
And I guarantee whoever you have right now, I can beat them.
Yeah.
And that's what I told some of the coaches. Gil Brandt, who was the general manager then, talked with him then, and we had a real good tryout. By the end of the weekend, I think it was like 20 something men left, who they told us when the camp was over, you stand by the phone, we're gonna call you either way, whether you make it or not. So of course I'm by the phone. I'm waiting by the phone, waiting for them to call me.
Yeah.
And I really thought that they wasn't gonna call me because my size. But they did. My nickname in college was Scooter, and so I had the coaches who were there then, and they started calling me Scooter.
Yeah. And
that made me feel so good.
Yeah.
I said, oh yeah, I got this. They gonna give me a shot.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, when I got the phone call, they told me, well, Scooter, we're not going to be able to take you this time, but, if you want to come back next time, come back and join us again, and we'll see what we can do. So, I felt disappointed, but I felt that I did my best. I didn't give up.
Yeah.
And that's why I tell my students now that I teach athletes, it don't matter what size you are, you do your best, and if you don't make it, just know that you did your best, and that's what counts. You did all you can do.
Yeah.
You didn't give up, and that's what I base my success. I think I was successful.
Yeah.
Even though I didn't make it, I'm satisfied.
Yeah. Yeah. and that's good, just that spirit of contentment. And this is good, y'all. I'm be transparent. I knew my dad was an athlete and, got almost to the pros and everything, but I didn't know he tried for the Cowboys.
Oh yeah,
I didn't know that.
So that's the first one I was gonna try out for.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool. And so you kind of see while we rep the star, while it is on at Dallas, is on the head. So long time fans of the Cowboys, generational fans of the Cowboys. So yeah, I ain't gonna say this all year, but they looking.
Oh yeah,
they looking pretty good.
Looking good.
They looking pretty good. You mentioned your students, and you know, we can't get out of here without talking about just your professional career as a physical education teacher. And you know, I've grown over the years in just my grade school appreciating the teacher, because a lot of cats, oh, you're just a gym teacher, but it's like, no, he's a physical education teacher, because there's two different things, you know. And so people don't understand the work that you've got to go through to really get that position, the schooling, the education, and so on and so on. And so you've been in physical education for a number of years in the Tulsa Public School District, and like I said, you coach. So you coach with Uncle PJ and Rogers and McClain and Booker T, and so talk to us about even just your coaching career as well. But primarily, I think you were the head coach of the freshman squad at Booker T for a number of years.
Yeah, basketball was kind of like a second sport to me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, football being my first,
yeah,
and then basketball second, and then of course track came along with the football as
mm-hmm.
far as the running and stuff. But
right.
Yeah. I got that call from Nate Harris
Mm-hmm.
After I left Rogers, and I was the PE teacher over at Hawthorne then, and he called me and asked me would I come join the team.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, yeah, I had coached basketball, I've coached girls basketball, I've coached quite a few sports.
Mm-hmm.
And but being at Booker T, coaching wise, which basketball wasn't my sport, but they just had a outstanding program.
Yeah.
And I was very blessed to be able to, just coach you.
Yeah.
And just like my father was my first coach.
Yeah.
Which is one reason why I got into coaching and teaching. One of the examples that led me to being or wanting to be a coach especially is I would see different young men,
mm-hmm.
not only little boys, but older guys, that were older than me and older than my brothers, and they would remember, hey, Coach Smith, they would remember Coach. They remember my dad.
Yeah.
From the time they were little, and these guys were older.
Mm-hmm.
And that really impressed me. All these guys, they know my dad, and they looked up to him, and I said, that's what I want to do. Because that was not my major. Physical education was not my major when I went to college. So I changed my major. Well, I didn't change it. That was my second degree after I graduated the first time from college. I went back and got my physical education degree, and I wanted to be a coach.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of what led me to want to be in young people's lives.
Yeah.
Your life, I wanted to improve you. I wanted you to do the best. I wanted you to do what I did, and I was proud of you,
mm-hmm.
And, you went as far as you wanted to go.
Yeah.
Could have went further if that was your choice, but,
right.
That was your choice. But I really appreciate the guy that allowed me to be a coach.
Mm-hmm.
Coach Nate Harris, Melvin Driver,
mm-hmm.
Those guys who've been coaching a long time, and they allowed me to express myself and to help these younger kids to be better athletes, just like they did me.
Yeah. No, that's good, and that's good to just hear the background and what got you into it. And it's crazy hearing you talk about, Papa and what you saw in him, because as you're saying that about him, I'm thinking the same thing about you. It's like old places. You Coach Smith, son, man, he's a good dude, and so I would hear that kind of stuff, and so
generation.
Yeah. So it's awesome, and that's the kind of impact. I guess that's really you and Mom being teachers, really kind of, I know y'all want me to be a teacher, and I always say I am a teacher. I just teach spiritually.
Right.
But a number of years, working at the Greenville Cultural Center, and that's, an arena that really helps teachers, things like that. It's blessed to sit into a number of schools, and we got to talk about where you are now. You're currently at Monroe Academy. Grade school, and they just published a article in the paper about the men of Monroe, and you're definitely one of those men that they've been talking about. So how does that feel, being one of the men of Monroe?
It feels good to be able to leave some kind of legacy, because I'm at the end of my teaching career. I've been with Tulsa Public Schools for 35 years, and I've met and I've known a lot of people throughout all those years, and like saying, just knowing those people, and they come up to me, and they remember you. I can't hardly remember them, but I remember faces though.
Yeah.
And it seemed like these kids, they start out so small, but man, when I see them and they all grown, I said, man, you've grown up. You're an adult, man. You're a man now. You got family, know. And that makes me proud that they can remember me. They'll stop and tell me stories that they remember from either PE class or from a game or something like that. And that's what, when I saw my dad and I saw those guys, and I decided that's what I wanted to do. And the same thing is happening to me. Yeah. And which makes me feel good. Yeah, that definitely makes me feel good.
Good stuff. And if nobody else tells you, I'm proud of you. Your kids. We're all proud of you. We you're not just dad to us, but we see the person that you are, and we're definitely proud to be your children. So you definitely are doing great things, and have been doing it for a very, very, very long time. So we definitely appreciate it. Lastly, when you talk about just the church, every church has had to come through, the pandemic. We talked about, back in '84, migrating over to Virgin Street, how Brother IS put you to work immediately, got you involved. And so you've obviously, since '84, you've seen a lot of things happen in the church musically, going from a chorus, back when I was a kid coming up, we had about 5-6 song leaders. Yeah. And so now, of course, people pass away, people migrate to different congregations. And so, going from that 5-6 man rotation to now, you're one of the two. You're the primary one, that's singing on Sundays. And then, having to form that worship team coming through COVID, and just, having to almost reinvent yourself a little bit, man. And so, how's that adjustment been, going from having a handful of guys to now just having only a select few?
It's really challenging, and it's really tough physically, on your voice, mentally, especially when, things happen like my late wife, she passed, and trying to control my emotions while I sing. And, I've broken down a time or two up there.
Yeah.
And good thing, we had some of the brothers who could, finish for me, or, whatever. But it's just been, I've really enjoyed being the minister of music, and I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Yeah.
It is tough when you don't have as many brothers who can lead the congregation in worship. And I pray all the time that, Lord, protect my voice, because I know at times when I'm at school and I'm talking to my class, sometimes I can't hardly make it to, the first or second, third class, without my voice. I start getting hoarse. And then, because I do yell. I yell a lot.
Right. You're being a coach.
Yeah. Been doing that for a long time.
Yeah.
And sometimes I try to save my voice, you know, and sometimes it works, sometimes it don't.
Yeah.
But I just pray the Lord just keep allowing me to be able to sing. I don't know what I would do if I couldn't sing.
Yeah.
And it kind of reminds me of your sister Shantae. She wakes up singing.
Yeah.
When she was, you know, when we were all together at home, you can just hear her voice, and she had the most strong and beautiful alto, soprano, whatever. She could sing it. Yeah. Tenor also.
Right.
And I love to hear Shantae Renee sing, and that's what reminds me of. I try to keep my voice strong. Sometimes I wouldn't even talk. Yeah. If it comes Saturday or Sunday night, I'm not saying nothing. Right. So I try to save my voice, but that is this is what I like to do. You know, I like to lead the worship, lead the congregation in singing. Like I said, we've come through some phases. Here at Virgin Street when I first came, you know, we went through because when I first came, you know, we didn't have a bass mic, and you know, so all of that kind of changed, especially as time went on. And you know, right before you came, you know, we kind of included the bass mic, and you know, they kind of got into it more, and even more so now, you know, with these song leaders now, it's just so, man, they be singing. That's all I can say, you know. And you know, one of my favorite, and he's old school. I would have to mention his name. Paul Williams. Yeah, Paul Williams is one of my best song leaders. You know, with some other, you know, Malcolm, my boy. You know, he's my boy, Malcolm. You know, and Will and those guys, and Ryan, even Jason, and Jason. Yes, all those guys. You know, which I kind of adopted all those guys in the truth. You know, those are my boys. Yeah. And those guys, I love to hear them sing. All of them can sing. And, you know, I didn't grow up leading song service like that. We were strictly book, you know, word of book, you know, tempo, everything, you know, and that's the way I came up. You know, but now, you know, contemporary, I mean, we are all over the place, man. And the things that they do with the song leaders, they do it all. Yeah. You know, at first I couldn't get with that because I said, why they singing? You know, it sounded like y'all, you know, they doing a solo. Yeah, yeah. And I wasn't with that because, you know, I'm from the old school. Right, right. You know, so, but now, you know, I wish I could do it more. And I couldn't understand when you left to go to Southwestern. Yeah. You came back doing the same thing. I said, man, Southwestern that's where you need to go. Yeah. Remember when I asked you how y'all make them words, you know, and that's something that I do better now. The ad-libbing and stuff. Yeah, the ad-libbing. Yeah. I love it. Yeah. I love it. So I got a different view on song leading now, you know, which it has evolved, and, you know, and I like it. And as long as it includes the worship, I mean, the congregation, yeah, for sure. I'm with it. Yeah. I'm with it. Yeah. Yeah, that's good. That's good. And so what's some advice you could share with those that are coming up? Because you have young individuals who even reach out to me and saying like, hey, you know, do you need a music minister, or what are some things I need to do to prepare myself to lead a congregation in worship? So what's some advice you could share to that? Well, basically, before you lead, you got to be able to follow. And that's what you should be able to do, you know. Get your life right. In order for you to be out front, you got to be good in the back or in the background, you know, where all the work is done. Right. I'm a worker. You know, I don't prefer to be out front, but, you know, in situation, you know, congregation, you got somebody has to do it. Right. Somebody has to step up. And the Lord, I believe, if Lord give you that talent, which, you know, I had the talent, but, you know, I wasn't planning on just, you know, taking over the chorus here at East Virgin Street back in 1985 or 86. And, you know, I didn't plan on that. But with people behind me, my wife, she pushed me, you know, and that's just what I came out to be. The Lord blessed me to be around other Christians, you know, that allow me to do that. Yeah, yeah. But just be strong Christian and stay in the Lord. That's the best advice that you can ever have.
Yeah.
Keep Christ in your life.
Yeah.
And he's going to multiply. He's going to allow you to do the things that you want to do.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. That's definitely good sound advice. And we pray just those who've been tuned. If you've been with us the whole time, pray for you've gotten a great opportunity to kind of hear where I came from musically, you know. So I'm not the most talented guy, but, you know, I use what God gave me. Yeah, but that came from this guy right over here. And so I appreciate him and my mother. And he talked about my sister. My brother can sing too. My brother can sing too.
Yes, he can.
He doesn't, but he can. If you put him out there, he will. So really, we grew up in a household just full of singers, and So we appreciate your dad just blessing us. I know anyone who's watched, you know, has definitely been blessed by just your insight from a musical perspective, but just your life and how, you know, God doesn't just impact you when we're in the sanctuary like now, but out teaching and out in the community or when you're coaching, you know, and that's the whole point of these things, to see, you know, outside of the time that we're up leading worship, leading the congregation, God is still impacting us in every aspect of our lives. So we definitely appreciate you. Yeah, definitely means a lot. Yeah, that concludes this episode. If you found value in this episode, definitely don't be afraid to like it. Don't be afraid to share. This is a ministry. Go ahead and subscribe to it. So whenever we release this content, you, as always, will be the first one to get it. We do this every Thursday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Until the next episode, we'll see you then. God bless you. God keep you. Peace.
Peace.